Hello everybody and welcome to the first episode of a brand new draft league. This isn't the FDL, this is the ENCDL. This is actually the third season. I didn't join the first two, and Collin just invited me for the third season. It's a little bit different than the FDL. The entire cast of players is different, except for Collin, who invited me. And it's also a singles draft league and not a VGC one like I normally play. So this is exciting for me. I haven't played singles at all since Gen 8 OU, and I didn't even play that many games, maybe just 50 or 100 games of that over the entire generation. So I'm very excited to play singles. I helped Collin team build in Season 1. This is Season 3. Season 2, they did VGC of their own. I didn't feel like joining that because I'd rather just play the FDL, personally. I'm good friends with just about everybody in there, so I have more fun with that. But I'm very excited for singles, because it was a blast helping Collin team build in the first season of this, and I'm excited to try out my own team building. And this is the team that I've drafted here. I guess I should go over the draft board. A big difference is that singles draft leagues usually award points to the Pokemon instead of placing them into tiers. For example, Darkrai, Dragapult, and Iron Valiant are all worth 19 points. And then as we go down the line, the worse the Pokemon get, the less points they cost. This is interesting because it actually gives you a lot more flexibility in your team building. Because each team has 115 points, I believe it was, to draft anywhere between 10 and 12 Pokemon, which is actually really interesting. Because you see some teams like this, very top-heavy with Valiant, Treads, Heatran, Wash, Rotom, and then Kleavor all being double-digit Pokemon, and I guess Noivern as well. But then they don't have many points left, so then they get like a 9, which is pretty mid-tier. Actually, that's, I think, right on average. You could get 12-9 Pokemon. 12 9-point Pokemon. Bramblegast, and then some low-tier picks. And then they just don't have 2 last slots, but they're out of points. Whereas teams like mine, I've got all 12, and I've even got some points left over. I'm one of the only teams to have points left over. This one is the other one, but they also have a slot, so they could grab a 1-pointer if they want, but I just don't think they do. So yeah, it's very interesting how some people take very different approaches. Like, this seems very top-heavy, and then not a lot on the low end. Whereas mine is, I've got nothing amazing, like nothing super high like Valiant tier, but I've got, you know, some mid-high tier Pokemon, and then like just some like mid-low tier Pokemon, which I think fill roles, which is very good. Whereas some people just end up with dog shit like Starly just as a joke to use at their last point, or Seviper purely to absorb toxic spikes, or Buizel as a mascot pick, or Cutiefly as a Suicide Webs lead, whereas I think every Pokemon on my team has a role that it can do. But speaking of that, I guess we can discuss my team. Initially going in, I knew I wanted a strong ground type, specifically one that could sustain itself, because I knew ground types are going to be in high demand, because there's going to be Tusk, Great Tusk, there's going to be Iron Treads, there's going to be Landorus-T. I knew Landorus-I was legal, which is very interesting, because that's actually in Ubers most of the time. But the thing that all of those good ground types have in common, they're all amazing Pokemon, but none of them actually can heal themselves, aside from leftovers. So I knew I wanted something that could heal, and that basically meant that my best option was going to be Gliscor. Because if we look at the draft board, I think there was one other ground type that could heal. Not Garchomp, that was another one up there. Excadrill also can't heal. Ursaluna Blood Moon is another one that can heal. And there might be one or two more. Tinglu can't heal. But basically, a lot of the time it comes down to you just whittle down your opponent's ground type, and then you can win, because they... Oh, Hippo. Hippo is another big one. Hippo is actually Collin's MVP in Season 1, because it's a ground type that has access to Slack Off. So that was something that I had my eye on, but I didn't really want to build Sand. So I wanted Gliscor first choice. And I was planning on picking it first, but literally as it came to my turn in the draft, I saw Valiant go, Chiyu, Dragapult, Mew, Great Tusk, and I saw these, like, every single one of these Pokemon are, like, 18 or 19 points, and except for Mew, which I believe he wanted just because Mew is really crazy in draft, because it gets every move, pretty much. But seeing that the 18 and 19 points, I thought people might try and scramble to get, like, the good value 16 to 15 ones, like I was considering, like Gliscor, Hisuian Samurott, Goldengo. But no, I saw people just start here and then work their way down, and I'm like, I might actually have time to get Gliscor on the swing back. So I actually took Goldengo first, which I thought was Of these three, this is my defensive core. Of the three, I thought Gholdengo was the most valuable one, and it was the most likely to go in round 1. So getting that first pick, then, you know, like picking 18, 18, 16, but this is also one he's never played with and he wanted to try something new. 18, this guy wasn't here, so he just got skipped. 19, 18, 18, and then Collin had a crazy strategy of getting low tiers first and then going back and get value. And then this guy had the swing pick 18, 16, and now the 16s start going, and then we get a 13, a 13, a 15, and this is where I was worried that Gliscor might get taken, but somehow it made it back to me. And I still didn't take it here. I decided there's only 5 teams ahead of me, and looking at it, none of them have a water type yet, but there is Great Tusk. So technically, in my mind, the chance of Gliscor going, I guess, yeah, Pelipper wasn't taken at this point. In my mind, the chance of Gliscor going was lower by 1 team, because this team wouldn't take Gliscor, whereas any of these teams could take Hisui and Samurott. So I took Hisui and Samurott first, and also the fact that at this point, there was also Landorus Therian on the board. So if I lost Gliscor, Landorus Therian was still an option that I could take and fill a very similar role, just a little bit less sustainable. So yeah, then it went up this way. Nobody took Gliscor, and then it came back to me, and I got Gliscor. And that's basically how my draft. From there on, it was just filling out the rest of the roles, because these 3, they actually don't share a single weakness between the 3 of them. We can go back here now. Gholdengo is weak to fire, ground, and ghost and dark. This resists fire, ghost, and dark, and it has super effective moves on ground as well. Whereas this guy is weak to electric, fire, or not electric, fire, electric, grass, fighting, and fairy, and bug, I guess. And Gholdengo resists all of those except electric. So basically the 2 types that they don't resist of each other's weaknesses are electric and ground. Gliscor is immune to both, pretty much, right? And then Gliscor is weak to ice. They both resist ice. And Gliscor is weak to water. This guy resists water. Then I knew I wanted to finish off my grass, fire, water core. And also these guys are a great defensive backbone. So now it's kind of time to load up on some offensive Pokemon. I grabbed, basically, I should have grabbed Volcarona next, but again, it was coming up at me from this side over here. So it's coming this way. And then I look back and I see, okay, well, there's a Chi-Yu there, and none of them have grass types, so basically I did the same sort of thought process where I'm like, well, Serperior is probably more likely to go, although, I don't know, I should have probably gotten Volcarona first, but also, in my mind, looking at this board, there's a lot better fire types on here than there are good grass types, because there's not really anything that does Serperior's role for about the same amount of points, right? Like, you've got Venusaur, but that's much more defensive. Wo-Chien is much more defensive. Virizion much more defensive. Venusaur and I guess Rotom Mo are kind of the only offensive grass types around that point value. And I also wanted access to Glare, which is really nice to paralyze other ground types. And then whereas if Volcarona for 14 points, if that got taken, I've got other options, because I'd be fine with Rotom Heat, Arcanine, Entei, probably not Delphox. I think that's too many points for Delphox. But there were other fire types that I'd be fine with. But Volcarona definitely was the best one. Then going down the line, Cyclizar got taken by this team as it's coming back this way. They took it, and then they eventually dropped it in favor of Talonflame to get... I actually don't know why. And even Collin's like, I can't believe they dropped it, because, you know, they've got double Regenerator, and triple Regenerator is just really strong. And I do think it's one of the best spinners here. People will disagree with you. People will tell you stuff like Tentacruel is good, and Tentacruel is great. And I think Blastoise actually might be the best one, because you can go defensive with Spin, or you can go offensive, whereas something like Tentacruel is probably just going to be defensive every week. I guess it could Swords Dance. And then obviously stuff like Great Tusk is just a good Pokemon that has access to Rapid Spin, and I guess Excadrill too. So yeah, no, Cyclizar is definitely not the best one, but I really like it as a mon that has Regenerator, U-Turn, and Rapid Spin. So it's just a sort of sponge that can take a couple hits. It's not super bulky, but the fact that it gets healed a third of its health every time it comes in and out, I like that a lot. Then I start picking my low tiers. I just got stuff that I thought was good value that also helps specifically into the teams that I had seen, that I was seeing being made. Biggest choice I had to make was Lantern or Quagsire, which then got taken by this team. In hindsight, I would have taken Quagsire, looking back, but at the moment I thought Lantern was good, because I started to see stuff like Rotom Wash, which Lantern pretty much walls. Zapdos Lantern can pretty much wall Thundurus, and this team was starting to look like a rain team, so I would want a water absorber, which I guess Quagsire also is a water absorber. What I like about Lantern is that you can make it a Terra Captain. Oh, I should explain that. In this league, in all singles leagues for the most part, not every single one of your Pokemon can Terra, unlike a VGC league. You get 15 points, and the Pokemon cost their regular point value, and you have 15 to allocate to any Pokemon to create Terra Captains. And one type has to be one of their original types, and then you get to pick 2 types. So my Terra Captains are Lantern with Flying and Steel, Rotom with, or I guess Water Flying Steel, Rotom Fan with Electric, Steel, Water, and Phalanx with Fighting, Steel, Ghost. And I'll explain them as we come to them. But I guess we're at Lantern. So Water I picked for the original typing because Lantern has 2 abilities that are good, which is Volt Absorb and Water Absorb. So I picked Water because I can Terra it into a pure Water type, remove my ground weakness, and then still be immune to Electric with Volt Absorb. I also have Terra Flying because a Flying type with an Electric immunity is quite strong, and it's quite difficult to remove because then you have to hit it with inaccurate Rock moves and Ice moves, which generally won't have Stab because they're coming off of Water type Pokemon. Then Steel. Objectively, I should have done Grass here because it just is better. It covers both of Lantern's real weaknesses. But Steel specifically I did into a lot of these other teams that are on the board. Specifically like this Iron Bundle. Freeze Dry plus Hydro Pump is insanely hard to switch into because it hits the combination of the 2 moves hits everything for neutral damage. But a Steel type with Water Absorb resists both of them. It's immune to one and resists the other. There's also stuff like Raging Bolt has Dragon moves plus Electric moves. And if I can be immune to Electric and resist Dragon, that's good. Walking Wake, Dragon, and Water. Be immune to Water, resist Dragon. Ogerpon Wellspring, resist Grass, be immune to Water. Yeah, I just thought Steel was generally good, even though I keep my ground weakness. And also, not a lot of teams have ground types. Like, this one doesn't have one at all. This one's only ground type is Clodsire, which is not very offensive. No ground type here. This one has Great Tusk, which is very strong. And this one has Treads, which is also very strong. I guess there's Blood Moon and Sandslash here. Landorus Incarnate's very strong. Donphan is decent. It's much better in singles than it is in doubles. No ground type here. Mamoswine, which is very strong. Mudsdale, which is not super strong, but it is respectable. Ursaluna hits very hard, but it's very slow. Toadscroll, it can be offensive, but generally I'd think of it as more of a support Pokemon. But I guess in singles it's mostly offensive because you're not using Rage Powder and stuff like that. Excadrill's strong, and then Tinglu is mostly bulky. So, and also I've got a great way to deal with ground types because Gliscor is immune to them, right? So even if I'm weak to ground, all I have to do is just switch to Gliscor, and I actually just get healed off of the turn because I have Poison Heal. Then I grabbed Doxbun because I need a fairy, first of all. I don't have a fairy, and I would honestly like a stronger fairy than Doxbun, but I think it's fun. I had fun building a Doxbun team for Collin in his Season 1. It's also got a great matchup into Chi-Yu and Gouging Fire in particular, because neither of them can hit it for very much damage because of its Well-Baked Body ability, which I think is very fun. Rotom Fan's a great Terra Captain because it's a electric type with Levitate, so that means Terra Steel. You lose your Ice, Rock... I think it's just Ice and Rock, actually. You lose your Ice and Rock weaknesses, turn them into resistances, and then now you're a Steel type that's immune to Ground, which is really strong. And then I did Water. In Season 1, Collin did Ice for the offensive capability, but looking into these teams, Water actually looks kind of better than Ice, because then, like see here, there's Treads, Heatran, so Water's very good there offensively. Basically, the only thing that Ice would let me hit that Water doesn't is Dragon, I think, because I already cover Grass types with my Flying Stab, so just Dragons, pretty much. And there's not that many scary Dragons around, like Dragapult, which could be a problem, in all honesty, because I don't have a good Fairy, but we'll come to that bridge when we cross it. Also, probably worth noting that Rotom in this league was only 4 points, whereas in Season 1, Collin got it for 8, which is crazy. Like, that's great value, I think. And speaking of great value, my next pick was Slacking. At this point in the draft, pretty much everybody only had a handful of points left, so I was fine waiting for my... I had a lot of points left, so I was fine just waiting until the end to get my last Bigmon. So I started grabbing some value stuff while ahead of the curve, pretty much. I don't know if anybody else would have taken Slacking, but I really wanted it because for 2 points, like, you really can't complain about how much damage Slacking does. Like, it's in the same tier as stuff like Carbink, Chimecho, these middle stage Pokemon here, and Furret, Munchlax. Like, the fact that Slacking is in the same tier as Oink alone is insane. And it may or may not even come. Most likely not, probably, just because the opportunity cost of not bringing, you know, one of these guys plus Cyclizar and then Espathra, it's very difficult to justify bringing it, but it's just so much damage. Next I got Phalanx. This was originally a Hisuian Avalugg, which I had as a secondary spinner. I guess I never discussed Cyclizar. Cyclizar did get sniped from me, and then the person dropped it. Yeah, I originally grabbed Hitmontop here as a backup spinner, but then when I dropped Hitmontop for Cyclizar, I dropped my backup, like, because the thing is, Cyclizar is a mon I'm comfortable bringing to every single game, right? I don't think there's going to be a matchup where I'm like, I just can't have Cyclizar this week. So whereas Hitmontop, you know, I could see a week where, you know, if it's pretty a fairy heavy team, and I guess Cyclizar is also weak to fairy, but Hitmontop, just without the recovery and the sustain that Cyclizar has, I wouldn't want to bring it every week. So I grabbed Hisuian Avalugg as a backup spinner and also a physical wall. I made it a Terra Captain, and into like this team in particular, which is almost entirely physical, and this one right here, these teams are both almost entirely physical, so Avalugg as a Terra Captain actually looked pretty good. But then, since I'm pretty fine to bring Cyclizar every week, I just decided I'd grab a different fighting type. It was between, for me, Girder and Phalanx. Girder is actually, it's an Eviolite mon, but it has access to Defog, which is really funny. So it has a secondary, I would have a secondary way of removing hazards. But I inadvertently remove my own from Ceaseless Edge or Spikes or Toxic Spikes or Stealth Rock or whatever. So I wasn't in love with that. I still probably think it was the correct play, but I just wanted to play with Phalanx because I think it's really fun. And it also gives me a third setup sweeper, because the idea of this team is you whittle your opponent down with hazards, and then once their mons that check your setup sweepers are gone, then you just sweep. So Phalanx gives me a third setup sweeper with no retreat. I give it a Terra type of Steel and Ghost, because Steel covers all of its weaknesses, right? It's weak to Fairy, it's weak to Psychic, and it's weak to Flying. Steel resists all three, so that's great defensively. And then Ghost offensively. Everybody knows how strong Annihilate is. The combination of Ghost and Fighting hits everything for neutral or better, which is really powerful, so I can just Terra Blast and get coverage. And also, No Retreat is a move that traps you in, and Ghost types are just inherently immune to being trapped, so I can actually No Retreat, get a kill, and then switch out if they send in something to revenge kill me, and they might not expect me to be able to do that. Then the last one I got, nobody else had points at this point, so I grabbed a Espathra, and then I ended up with a couple points left over. But like looking at the board, what was this Espathra? 13 points. Like in the 15, like I didn't want Keldeo or Titar on my team. I didn't really want any of this. Like Hoopa Unbound, I'd rather have the setup sweeper Espathra, you know. Slowbro lost its pivot with Teleport. Like I don't want any of this. I'm fine having a couple points down, if it means that I get a better Pokemon in Espathra. So that's the team, and I think it's really solid. And I generally think most people agreed. Collin and Sigtrick made a tier or a breakdown. Yeah, and I'm very happy and I'm very excited to play with it because I don't play singles like at all, so I'm excited. But I've yapped enough about my team. This is the only time I'm going to do that because this is the first episode. But it's time to look at the schedule, and my first matchup is the Bite Joltik, which we can pull up here. Now, this is piloted by a player called Weaselman, and from what I've gathered, I don't know anybody in this league except for Collin going into it, so or at least about how they play Pokemon. What I've gathered about him from him just like talking in the general chat and people talking about him is that he likes weird teams. He's a very weird mon enjoyer, and I can kind of see that here with stuff like, well, I guess all the mons are good, but like together it's just kind of interesting, right? You've got Darkrai, which is like a setup sweeper, Raging Bolt. In singles, I think it generally just is like a bulky attacker. Maybe it can Calm Mind. Jirachi can set Jirachi's actually really like in draft. You could set hazards with it. You can sweep with it with a Scarf. I think it gets Healing Wish. It gets Regular Wish. It gets the set that everyone knows about, which is Body Slam and Iron Head. U-Turn, Knock Off. Just great stuff. Hydrapple is just another bulky special attacker like Raging Bolt. This one has Regenerator, so it can come in and out and get healed. This is just a very slow, bulky team, actually, looking at it. I guess it benefits from webs from Araquanid. Yeah, that's kind of exactly how to look at the team. Like, bulky special attacker, bulky physical attacker with webs to support all these slow mons, bulky physical attacker, bulky special attacker. And then you've got 2 setup sweepers, or I guess setup sweeper, or I guess it could just be choice specs, and then a late game cleaner with booster energy. You got some utility here, you got hazard removal here. I don't know what either of these 2 Pokemon do. I think this is probably here just to absorb toxic spikes, and I have no idea what Houndstone does. I guess it's just because you can't do Sand Rush because there's no sand on this team. Last Respects is banned, so I guess you just start using it as a bulky ghost type with Fluffy, which I guess kind of doubles your defense against contact moves only. So, going in, the ones that I'm very afraid of, Darkrai, obviously you have to respect the ability that it can just put your Pokemon to sleep and then set up with Nasty Plot and then sweep. Very worried about this because my best check to this is Gliscor, and if it's booster special attack, it can 2-shot me with Dragon Pulse or 1-shot me with Draco Meteor, which is really scary. Obviously this, I don't actually have an amazing switch in for water type attacks on my team. My best one are Samurott and Superior, both of which just so happen to be weak to Bug, so that's kind of scary. Iron Moth is honestly very scary, but I mean, it's because it's Iron Moth, right? It just does a ton of damage and it's very fast. But I do have, I've got a couple of bulky waters which help check it. It can have Energy Ball, but I've got some techs in my back pocket for it. Mudsdale, not super worried about. I feel like Gliscor kind of walls it forever. The thing that makes it scary, though, is the fact that it can Terra into a Steel type. But honestly, into my team, I'm torn which one he would Terra it into, because Water helps versus Samurott and Volcarona, whereas Steel actually just makes you worse to Volcarona. So I'm thinking he might go Water, and if it's a Water type, it gets Toxic Stalled by my Gliscor. He would have to be a Steel type to avoid the Toxic Stall. This one maybe comes, maybe doesn't. It's very bad into Goldengo, and it's also not good into Gliscor, surprisingly, because I'm running Toxic. He might expect to just wall my Gliscor and set up Calm Minds, but I can just Toxic Stall him. Cryogonal is a bit scary. At first, I wasn't worried about it at all. Oh yeah, I just saw a Ghost Fairy fighting. I'm like, is that Cryogonal? But no, Cryogonal is Ice Steel Ghost. At first, I'm just like, yeah, Goldengo can just come in forever, and it never threatens it. But then I saw that he sneaked a little Terra Ghost onto it, and Terra Blast, Terra Ghost can threaten my Goldengo with a 2-shot, which is quite scary. And then I don't think either of these mons come. So I guess we can look at what I've come up with. This is my Gliscor. And I suppose I should start with this speed. I have this speed on Gliscor, Volcarona, and Samurott. They all hit 263, except Gliscor, which hits 264, just because that's a jump point. It jumps right from 262 to 264. That is faster than paralyzed booster speed Iron Moth. And I've got 2 ways of paralyzing it. I've got Glare on Superior, and I've got Thunder Wave on Goldengo. And like, my thought is like, if I have Goldengo out, their switch might be Iron Moth on Make It Rain. And then if I predict that, I can go for the Thunder Wave. And then my Superior is actually a crazy set that everybody tells me is terrible, and it very well could be, but I'm a believer, and it's Choice Scarf Glare. Basically, the idea is that if Darkrai or Iron Moth start going crazy with special attack boosts, either from Nasty Plot or Fiery Dance, if I don't have this in the back, I just get swept. Because, like, Darkrai, basically, my Mon that can take hits from it is this one, which resists Dark and Ice, which are 2 moves that I expect it to have. The last move could either be Focus Blast or Sludge Bomb. And if it is Sludge Bomb, basically it has to be, if it's Life Orb and +2, Sludge Bomb can kill me on a high roll, and Focus Blast, I just die to, regardless. So if the Darkrai goes crazy, I could sack something else, bring this in, glare it, and then go for game, and then just revenge kill it with one of these guys that are all faster than it. And then the same thing with Iron Moth. I can sack, Golden Joe or somebody, bring this in, glare it, and now I can just kill it with Richard Nixon. Because Richard Nixon has quad effective Earthquake, and it can't tear out of that weakness. But that is the speed. The special defense, I just thought special defense Gliscor looks really strong here, specifically into this. This amount of special defense lets me live a regular Fiery Dance into +1 Fiery Dance, because the first one does 40, and then the second one does 60. We can pull that up, Iron Moth, and then I pull up Gliscor. So the first one does 42, and then the second one does 82. Wait, oh, that's because it's getting booster. 63, right? And then with the extra, what is it? What is 116? What's that in percent? 116 in percent is an extra 6%. So, right, so it's 42 point something, right? 42.8 into 63.6, right? So that adds up to exactly, pretty much exactly 106. So it would take 2 absolute max rolls to kill my Gliscor, and I have Protect, so I can just Protect for a turn to get health back. I'm doing something very toxic, because I have Toxic, but the big thing that is really toxic is Substitute Protect. One thing that Gliscor is one of the few mons capable of doing this, because I'm getting essentially double leftovers. Substitute takes 1/4 of your health. I get 1/16 back with Toxic. No, not 1/16. No, I get 1/8 back, not 1/16 back. So I get 1/8 back on the turn I sub, then I get another 1/8 back on the turn I protect. So then that means that I get 1/8, 1/8, that's 1/4, and then I have the exact amount of HP that I started with. So I can stall forever with this until I run out of PP. And that means that anything slower than me, I stall out forever. So that means if this gets poisoned, I can stall it forever. I can stall this forever. I can stall this forever. I can stall this forever. And that's it. Those 4 are... Oh, and Hydrapple too. Essentially, Gliscor is a check to all of these Pokemon, and it can do more than one as well. As long as it can take the first hit to get that first Toxic off. And like I said, this thing does like 60 to 70% with Booster Energy Dragon Pulse. So as long as I don't get crit immediately, I do this. This one needs a all-out Fickle Beam crit to kill Gliscor. This one is difficult, but I'm hoping that I can catch it on turn it goes for Sticky Web, get my sub up first, then Toxic it, and then I'm in an advantageous position. This one doesn't kill me with anything. Moonblast does about 60% max. This one is actually the only mon on the team that I can kill with a sub up. If it's not Terra Steel, I can kill it. If I time my turns correctly, I kill it with poison while I have a substitute active, and then that lets me Toxic Stall something else here for free, which is insane. So this is going to be the most important Pokemon, and if I lose this, I could very well lose the game. And that's just kind of how singles goes, right? VGC, I feel like you can be a lot more dominant. No, maybe not. There's much less room for error in VGC than singles, because one turn running in singles can just spell disaster for you. Whereas, like, if I accidentally sack this, it's not the worst. But if I sack this, I think I almost lose the game immediately. Just because of how important it is as a defensive switch for so many of these Pokemon. Next up, this is probably my end game. If either basically if I remove this, actually Gliscor does also beat Jirachi too with Earthquake. I didn't think about that, but I have to remove Darkrai and Cryogonal, and then this either needs to mess up and go for Sticky Web on a turn I sub or get killed by something else. But once these 3 guys are gone, Gliscor kind of finishes off the rest, and it can't do all of them. It gets like 2 or 3 of them, but probably not all of them, because they'll just get weakened too much, or run out of PP. And Volcarona, basically, Volcarona, I just need to remove this, and I need to keep hazards off the field. Once these 2 go down, Volcarona is capable of setting up on pretty much any of these special attackers and sweeping. One thing that's very risky is that I'm actually running Lumberry and not Heavy Duty Boots, so I have to keep rocks off the field for Volcarona to be good. This speed is the same as Gliscor and this, to be faster than Paralyzed Iron Moth, but also that means if when I'm at +2, I'm faster. Morning Sun lets me just pretty much heal up on all his special attackers and setup, and then Fiery Ants Bug Buzz is coverage into everything. I need, I think, +3 Volcarona. If I'm at +2, I can 2-shot this, but realistically, I need +2 into +3 from the boost, or to just get +3 beforehand. Let me take that off. Yeah, but then the big ones that I can't kill are Mudsdale. Mudsdale. Oh, actually, if I'm +3, I kill it with Bug Buzz. Of course, there is the option of it going Terra Steel, and then it just lives. So I have to get a 50-50 right on the Mudsdale. And it threatens me back if it's running Rock Slide. That one-shots me always, and I can't Terra. And then the big one is Araquanid. 252 Adamant. It kills me in 1 with Liquidation, and even +3 I don't kill it. Actually, I guess if it's probably not this amount of Spadef I kill. No, I don't. I need +4 to kill it, which is like a lot of boosts, because a single crit can kill my Volcarona. So it's very scary. I need to remove Araquanid pretty much before I can sweep with this. Next up, as I mentioned, this is like the crazy set of just pretty much keep it in the back, and it's insurance that I can't get reverse swept by Darkrai or Iron Moth. And in addition, it can also Dragon Pulse into the Raging Bolt or the Hydrapple. It doesn't do that much. It's like 25% of this, but basically 2 Dragon Pulses put that in range to die to Earthquake from Gliscor. And then just a couple Dragon Pulses to keep it weak. I mostly expect to be clicking Glare. I have Leaf Storm because it can also deal, like 30 or 40% to this and this, which are the 2 ones that threaten Volcarona. Which is why, in drafting, I wanted a Fire and a Grass-type sweeper, because Fire can get stopped by Water and, Ground or Rock types, and Grass covers both of those. And then Sleep Talk. This is, the other option I had here was Substitute. Basically, I can, if I ever am in a position where Gliscor is too low to make its own substitutes install, or out of PP, I Toxic, sack it, and then go to this, and then I get 4 substitutes to, stall 4 turns. Eventually I decided that Sleep Talk is better, because I can now switch in safelier on Darkrai. I mean, this lives either Life Orb, Ice Beam, plus Stealth Rock damage, or Specs Ice Beam from Darkrai. And then also, if I get put to sleep, I just Sleep Talk, and I've got a 33% chance to pull Glare. And also, if Weaselman puts one of my Pokemon to sleep, I feel like he's going to get greedy and go for Nasty Plot. At that point, the Leaf Storm chip is really good, because it'll break his potential Sash, and also I'm faster than him, so I also get a second pull off the Sleep Talk, which could be Glare, which is we beats the Darkrai. A second Leaf Storm will actually kill it, because Leaf Storm into +2 Leaf Storm kills it. And then worst case scenario is I get 2 Dragon Pulses, or Dragon Pulse into regular Leaf Storm. But I think we're okay. I think I should have 2 chances off of Sleep Talk, and basically Leaf Storm into Leaf Storm. Let's think of the combinations, right? Because there's Leaf Storm, Dragon Pulse, Dragon Pulse, Dragon Pulse. What are the losing combinations? I should guess first. It's Dragon Pulse, or then Dragon Pulse into Leaf Storm. Because I think even Leaf Storm into Dragon Pulse might kill. Let's see. Darkrai, I believe he could afford 32 EVs, because that's all the speed he needs. And let's put Superior in here, and I've got 12 EVs. So Leaf Storm into Leaf Storm kills. Does Leaf Storm 42 into 37, that doesn't kill, right? 42 plus 37, he's at 79, so he needs 20%, and then how much damage does Samurott do with Sucker Punch? 20%, wow, yeah, so that's actually perfect, yeah. So my losing outcomes are Dragon Pulse into Leaf Storm, and Dragon Pulse into Dragon Pulse, because any Glare kills, or any Glare revenges Darkrai. So let's see, here, how many options do we have? We have Leaf Storm, which is 1, Leaf Storm, Dragon Pulse, which is 2, Leaf Storm, Glare, which is 3, then Dragon Pulse, Leaf Storm, Dragon Pulse, Glare, and then, so that's 6 right there, and then Glare is another one, and then, Glare, Dragon Pulse, Glare, Leaf Storm. So that is 9? Yeah, that makes sense, because it's 3 squared. So then there's 9 options, and only 2 of them lose me. So 2 out of 9 chance, which is 22%. So I've got a 78% chance to come out on top with this set, which assuming I get put to sleep. If I don't, I just clear it for free. And also, there's also a 40% chance that he even hits me with the Hypnosis. So this is actually really reliable, I think, as inaccurate or as unreliable as it seems. I've already gone over this, but my defenses are, I believe this lets me live a +1. Yeah, it lets me live a +1 Iron Moth booster energy on Cyclizar. It lets me live a +1 Sludge Wave. Obviously, I have to make it inactive. Yep, +1 Sludge Wave, I live. I can spin on just about anything here, except Darkrai, pretty much. And then just sack it, because, I hope to kill the Hazard Setters and then bring this in after and spin. And then this speed puts me so that where I'm faster than Iron Moth, hits 350, I'm at 352, which is a jump point. After I have my Rapid Spin speed boost, I'm faster, and I can go for either Outrage or Double Edge, to chip it and put it into Sucker Punch range from my Hisuian Samurai, which is what the 20 attack is for. Then my Hisuian Samurai originally actually started out with this much attack, which 2 shots Hydrapple with Cyclizar, and then I had to go up to this much because I swapped. I used to be Aqua Jet, and then I swapped to Sucker Punch because it's way better into Raging Bolt. Because I think if Raging Bolt is ever on the field versus my Samurai, he's just going to click Thunderclap and try and prevent me from getting spikes up. So the fact that I can Sucker Punch once on the Thunderclap and then chip him and then Sucker Punch again, because then he'll click Thunderbolt probably. So I basically get a free 54% on, and then when we pull up Gliscor, that it kills after leftovers. Probably not 2 turns of leftovers, I don't know. I also don't know how bulky this is going to be, because this could have some speed. That's another thing that my Gliscor is nice. I originally had no speed, and then I'm like, oh yeah. Because I looked at the one in the calculator, I'm like, what does the speed do? And the speed in the calculator is exactly for Gliscor. So I'm like, okay, well, if these guys generally are trying to outspeed creep Gliscor in OU, then I might as well put some speed in. Last one is Golden Joe. This used to be a power gem so that I could 1v1 the Araquanid, because this basically is my Araquanid check, because I don't have a great switch-in for it. Oh, not Thunder Punch, Thunder Wave. So it's Fizz Def, Golden Go with Rocky Helmet. The idea is that I can switch in on Liquidation, Araquanid, Golden Joe, and I basically never really get 2-shot by Liquidation. Problem is that Liquidation can drop my defense, right? So then I start taking more. The idea is that I switch in, chip it with Shadow Ball, and then he starts taking Rocky Helmet damage, and I'm basically whittle him down to around 16%, at which point I can hard switch to Cyclizar, take less than half, and then kill him with a spin. And now webs are gone permanently, is the idea. Because typically when people, I feel like in singles, are locked into a situation where they're just going 1-for-1, and I'm forced to recover, he's going to want to keep my Golden Go low. But secretly, I am fine in this exchange, because my whole plan is to bring in Cyclizar and spin kill, so he can never have another chance to get Sticky Web up versus me. So, basically this is a bait for Araquanid, so that he stays in to keep me low, and then I get webs off the field permanently. In hindsight, well, not hindsight, but currently, the only change I would probably consider this team is Boots Volcarona. But I do have Lumberry on these two, specifically because of Darkrai. It lets them set up on Darkrai a little bit more, because I do really want at least one Quiver Dance up, and I don't want to get put to sleep. Alternatively, that allows both of these guys, they both check Jirachi, but if either one gets paralyzed, they can fail to do that. So the idea of putting Lumberry on 2 guys, because there's no items clause in singles, I'm like, okay, well, it lets me set up on Darkrai easier, or just revenge kill it with X-Scissor. And then I also can set up on, or not set up on, but revenge Jirachi without fear of being paralyzed. And there's some other stuff, right? Like Raging Bolt, I can set up a couple Quiver Dances on, because Thunderbolt's only a 10% chance to para, but I can set up without fearing that. Here I can set up without fearing a Poison from Sludge Wave. And also, Volcaron's my best switch in for Cryogonal, because like I said, it's probably going to have Terra Blast, Terra Ghost for my Golden Joe. So I can switch in, set up without fear of being frozen. It's very risky though, because if Teddy Roosevelt fails to keep the hazards off the field, I take 50% from Stealth Rocks and then also get my speed lowered, which is almost game losing. So, name of the game, keep Gliscor healthy to wall out all the guys that it can, keep Volcarona in the back and remove the 2 guys that it can't 1v1, and keep hazards off the field. And if I can do all 3 of those things, I think I can win this. But I've yapped for so long now, 40 minutes, and we're not even into the game yet. I apologize. But, you know, this is YouTube, and you can just skip ahead if you want. But we're going to hop right into the game. Alright, cool. Alright, so. Araquanid, Jirachi, Cryogonal, Darkrai, Enamorous, and Iron Moth. Okay. So the fact that there is no Raging Bolt actually makes this a lot safer to lead. What is his lead going to be? It could be Jirachi, could be this. Either way, Golden Joe is a great switch. So I'm going to lead Bill Clinton. I'm nervous. I've been thinking about this for a while, for the past hour or so, just thinking through. I was debating leading Gliscor and Samurai, and I was going back and forth in my head a lot. I could either way. I was debating between leaving Gliscor or Samurott. Basically, I had decided on Gliscor because basically it's so hard to switch into Raging Bolt. Alright, Jirachi, perfect. Now we're going to learn what sort of set this has. I'm going to ceaselessly edge on him. Oh, I didn't say Jelly Chef. He U-turns off me, does like 47%. Araquanid comes in, and I miss Ceaseless Edge. Alrighty. Great start. Okay. Do I want... I think I'm just going to go Golden Joe. This should be webs. Yes, good. Alright, now I Shadow Ball. I would like to keep this alive. This might invite in Darkrai, actually. Maybe I Thunder Wave first. I think I'm going to Thunder Wave first in case it's Darkrai. My cat is getting into something. Where is she? Oh, she's at the cardboard box. It's fine. Oh man, that Cecil Edge miss sucks. I would have loved to have some spikes up. And I missed Thunderwave too? Oh my god. I think I'll Shadow Ball. That's actually probably the worst 2 turns that I could have had to start this game. Okay, Jirachi comes in. Takes a ton of damage. It's probably knockoff. Am I fine losing boots on Cyclizar? Let me actually calc the damage. So the U-turn did 47%. If this is U-turn, it does... Oh, whoops, yeah, 31 IV, 252 EVs. U-turn... Oh, wow, it's actually not 252 EVs. It's somewhere in the middle. Oh, wait, no. Oh, wait, no, it could be 252 EVs. I'm gonna go... Oh, shit. Do I lose my Lumberry? This thing is still too healthy. I think I go... Teddy Roosevelt. I can spin on this. Okay, rocks up. Great. I'm gonna spin till I die. Or I can U-turn next turn. Cat, go. Go. Get off. Alright, now U-turn off this. U-turn kill. Great. Now who comes in? Maybe I just get poisoned. Yeah, in all honesty, I'm gonna get poisoned. This is probably inviting in Cryogonal. Golden Joe's chipped. Oh, it's Araquanid. I substitute on webs. Now I Toxic. Okay, I actually hit the Toxic. That one's actually big. I sub again. He's taking 18%. I protect here. Liquidation. 25. So he's going to be at 25%. I'll sub once. Now I go Teddy Roosevelt. Oh, I fucked this up. I fucked this up bad. I should have gone last turn. That's unfortunate. That's bad. Oh, no, he's giving me a spin. No, he's going to spin block me. I U-turn off this. U-turn off that into... This is an ice move. I go... I think I go Harry Truman here. I wish I could have spun on the Araquanid. I should have just sacked. Don't freeze me. Okay, Quiver Dance here. I really messed up with the... I should have just gone into Cyclizar and sacked it the turn before. How healthy is Gliscor? Gliscor is healthy enough to take on this. Oh my god, wait. I'm dancing up. I'm dancing up. Actually, I think this might be a game here. Oh, he has Haze, damn. 40 to 48. Haze is actually clutch for him. Does he Haze again? I could get more health on this. I'll get Chip on this. Fiery Dance. Fiery Dance again. How much? Haze has a ton of PP, right? Let me just think about what to do here. He freezes me. I have Lumberry. Wait, is this it for Cryogonal? Yeah, Cryogonal goes down. All right. Oh, he's faster than... Oh, because I didn't have a boost up. But he can't... oh, he's going to recover here. Go to Bill Clinton on the recover. Now he's not going to expect Sucker Punch. Got him. I don't have a great setup opportunity, though, and I've burned my Lumberry, so I can't safely come in on Darkrai anymore. Oh, I need to go on DND. I didn't think about Haze at all. If it's Freeze Drive, Recover, Rapid Spin, it might not actually have Terra Blast Ghost. Well, actually, it's dead, so it doesn't matter. This is probably Moonblast 210. Let's see. It's going to be 137. I'm 175. I am faster than this. It's Moonblasting for sure. I think I go Golden Joe, though. Agility. Oh my god. Earth Power does 52. What if it's max special attack? It's 53 to 63. Actually, it needs a max roll to kill me. Yeah, it needs a max roll to kill me, unless it's Modest, which it very well could be Modest. Actually, let me check it something. If it's 252, is it faster than Cyclizar? Cyclizar is 253. Yeah, it's faster than Cyclizar. Okay. Is it faster than Scarf Superior, though? No way. What about Timid? No, I can come in and glare it. So he has to be Modest to kill my Golden Joe here. The Modest roll is 58 to 69, 62%. If he's Timid, then he doesn't kill me. Probably. 12% chance to kill me. Sorry, I'm talking. Yeah, no problem. Okay, I definitely... I think I played quite well, except for the... I messed up on the Araquanid. I should have gone to Cyclizar a turn earlier, so that I could get his webs off. Because I don't really have an opportunity to go back in now. I also just didn't even think about Haze, but the fact that it wasn't Haze meant that it was walled by Goldingo forever, because I'm assuming Rapid Spin was its last move. Oh, Calm Mind? Alright, so he is faster than my Golden Joe. That's going to do a bajillion. And this has no healing. I think I go... I think I just make it rain. Yeah, I just sack this. What's my win con? I think I paralyze it. Okay, what's he gonna do? Moonblast? Do I save this? No, I don't think so. What do I go to after, though? Do I need Bill Clinton? How much does... Double Edge just that much? Okay, I'm gonna sack Bill Clinton. Yeah, okay. Now I go... Cyclizar, get a spin. I think I'm playing for a Volcarona endgame here. Okay, that's big. That is big, and I'm not gonna lie that isn't. Oh my god, the crit too! Cyclizar's going crazy, and I get a free double edge on either one of these. Because my plan there was to use that opportunity to get into Volk. I think I just... Oh, it's special attack Quark Drive? Okay. Do I just outrage? Yeah. Cool. Do I... I'm just gonna send in Nixon. Big damage, but that's okay. I sack Gliscor to Darkrai. Send in Volk. I would love to see Life Orb. Show me Life Orb right here. Or show me, ideally, I'd like to see Life Orb or Specs or something. If I see Dark Pulse, I'm gonna... Actually, no, because he could just predict a switch. I think... What's the win con? I sack this right here. Go to Serp, glare it. Then go to Volk. And then Bug Buzz should just kill it. Unless it's Sashed. Sashed is the worst end game. But he also would probably have to crit me. Because it does 50 and I'm at 71. Oh yeah, he's definitely thinking. So, worst case scenario, Sash. I've eaten my Lumberry already. It's plot. Okay. Wait, I think I win. Always now. Because I have Scarf Superior. Scarf Superior is huge. Okay. Go to... It is Life Orb too. Alright, Scarf Superior, Glare. Then I just Glare forever until he kills me. And now Truman comes in and Bug Buzzes. Scarf Superior. Oh my gosh, everyone doubted the Scarf Superior, and it actually saved my ass in that for exactly that reason, to prevent me from getting swept by Darkrai or Booster Speed Iron Moth. And that's week 1, very close. I definitely misplayed around the Araquanid, and I just completely forgot that this got Haze. Overall, I think I had built a great team, and I'm quite happy with what I did. I'm very surprised to see no Raging Bolt. Let's look at what else his team had. No Hydrapple, I guess, makes a little bit of sense, because it just doesn't do much in Volk, and I can set up on it unless it gets a couple of boosted ones. No Mudsdale, I guess, makes sense, because Gliscor walls it forever. Yeah, the Enamorous was also a big... I did not expect Agility. I didn't even know it got Agility. But that is week 1. Stay tuned for week 2. We'll be playing against this team, the Chicago Joltiks. Very scary team. Chiyu's always a menace, and Ogerpon and Tornadus, Glamora, just very scary threats. And Regieleki, obviously. Can't Terra, but it's quite fast and very difficult. Alright.